my dear friends, welcome back to High Point again. I hope you all of you are doing great. And we have already seen five major tales included in the Canterbury Tales. We will see five more in this video. So this is the part three of Canterbury Tales. In the part one, we have seen the prologue to the Canterbury Tales, where we find many pilgrims and we have seen details about them. And in the part two, we have seen five major tales that Chaucer says that is told by various pilgrims in the Canterbury Tales, and also we will see five more in this part three of Canterbury Tales. So Canterbury Tales, it composed between the years 1386 to 1395, that we have already seen every other video. I have mentioned this particular point, so do remember that. So before going into the main content of this video, let me remind about my website www.highpoint.in, in which you will find immense materials arranged in systematic and comprehensive manner for you to access. You will find 900 plus audio lectures and 300 plus downloadable, well described and simplified PDFs for you, which you can use throughout your career, and also 3000 plus questions, and out of that questions we have created practice question papers, and also you will find previous question papers which you can attempt live in the website, and you can know your progress and mark instantly. So go and check my website www.highpoint.in, and also you can message or WhatsApp or call to the number given in the screen, and you can know more about. And if you want any help in your UGC NET and JRF, you can obviously contact me. I will be very glad to help you out. Okay. So let's begin the third part of Canterbury Tales. So we have seen some tales, some stories of the Canterbury Tales in the previous video. So now we are continuing with it. So here we have the first one is the Franklin's Tale. So I'm not continuously telling the stories. I just picked up the important ones. So from these important tales, I have often seen questions. So in that way, I have picked tales from the Canterbury Tales. I'm not continuously telling each tale here, but we will towards the end of this video. Towards the end of this video, in the last slide, I have included some other details related to other tales that we could find in the Canterbury Tales. So don't skip the video because you are going to miss some important points. So yeah, let's begin. The Franklin's Tale. So about Franklin, I have mentioned about that pilgrim in the first part of the Canterbury Tales. You go back, you can go back to it and you can check upon him. So Franklin, he told a Breton lay. Okay, Franklin told a Breton lay, and it's about two lovers, Aurelius and Dorgan. Okay, Aurelius and Dorgan. So these two are lovers, and they decided to have equality in their marriage. So they decided to marry, and they decided that in marriage usually there will be some inequality. In every other space we have inequality, but still in marriage we assume that there is equality, but usually we don't find that in here in that marriage institution. But they decided that they will have equality in every other matter that matters them. Okay, after marriage. So after marriage, what happens? Rodriguez, he goes to Britain to seek honor. So he's in order to find glory, in order to find honor, he goes to Britain, and he lived with Dorgan there alone. And Dorgan was alone in France. Okay, Dorgan and Rodriguez, they were in France, and Rodriguez, he went to Britain to seek honor, leaving Dorgan there alone in France, and she was worried about the black rocks of Brittany. So through the while Argus, he was making the journey to Britain, and when he will come back from Britain, there is a particular place on the way called as Black Rocks of Brittany. So Black Rocks of Britain is a pretty dangerous place, and she worries that Argus won't survive that place. Maybe something bad will happen because of the particular geography of that particular place. So she was very much worried about him. And Dorigen was courted by Aurelius against her wish. So while Aurelius was away, she was actually courted by Aurelius, another person, Aurelius, against her wish. She doesn't want Aurelius to treat her, court her, but Aurelius was treating her and courting her against her wish. And one day, what did Dorigen do? Dorgan, she vowed him in a moment that he can have her love if he remove all the black rocks of Brittany. So she was so much worried about this place, Black Rocks of Brittany. That will be there on the way, or Ergus comes back to or returns back to France. So she was worried, and she tells this to, or she vows a particular vow to Aurelius that if you remove all these rocks of Brittany, black rocks of Brittany, then you can have my love. So, in a moment of fear for Aurelius' safety of return, Dorgan tells this. So Aurelius find this as a particular moment that he could have the love of Dorigen. So Aurelius approaches his magician friend, and magician also felt pity about Aurelius, and he did what Aurelius asked him to do. That he removed the magician friend removed all the black rocks of Brittany, and he did that for Aurelius. Magician friend did that for Aurelius, and Aurelius also promised a huge amount of money in return to this magician friend. Meanwhile, what happened? Her husband, Aurelius, he safely returned back to Dorigen in France. Okay, so Aurelius, her husband, safely returned back to Dorigen safely, and Aurelius also approached Dorigen. So Dorigen's demand was fulfilled by Aurelius. So naturally, Aurelius needs her love. So that she vowed to him, vowed to Aurelius. So, but what happened? Her husband also came back to her safely. And she was worried about her vow to Aurelius, and she could not. Initially, she was reluctant to tell this to her husband, even though they promised to have equality in their marriage and all. But she started to tell about many deeds that virtuous women have done to safely in the for the sake of their husbands and all. So she was telling that, and one day Dorgan tells this vow that she made to Aurelius for the sake of his safety to her husband. So she reveals about her vow to Aurelius to her husband, and what happens? Instead of scolding her, instead of disowning her, what he did, he actually said to her that you have to fulfill the vow that you promised to him, that you have to keep your word, keep your promise that you have made to Aurelius anyway fulfilled your demand. So as a honest person, you have to fulfill Aurelius's that the vow that you made to Aurelius. So that was the suggestion, that was the thing, comment made by Aurelius. So after that, what happens? Aurelius. She went to Aurelius, and Aurelius also saw the love between Dorigen and Aurelius. Okay, Aurelius saw the love between Aurelius and Dorigen. Then what he did? He relieved Dorigen from her vow, and magician friend also saw this. Things happening around Aurelius and Dorigen and Aurelius. Magician friend also relieved Aurelius from his huge debt. Magician friend removed the whole black rock of Britannia for Aurelius for a huge amount of money. So he also relieved him from the huge debt that Aurelius has to pay to the magician friend. So, that's the story of the Franklin's Tale. It's a Breton lay. So, remember these characters, Aurelius, Dorigen, and Aurelius, and what is happening in between them. So, that's all about the Franklin's Tale. The next tale is the Pardoner's Tale. The Pardoner's Tale. So about partner also, I have given much details in the part 1 of Canterbury Tales. Do check that if you want. So his tale is a moral exemplum. The partner's tale is a moral exemplum. It has a prologue about cunning people. So he mainly talks about cunning people. And most of the tales in the Canterbury Tales, it has a prologue. So each and every, most of them has a prologue before the start of the story. Before the start of the actual story, there is a prologue. So after hearing the just previous story, what is the reaction, what are the reactions of other pilgrims, and some comments made by the pilgrims are included in the prologue section. So each and every story contains a short prologue, and only after that the story begins. So the Parnes tale is a moral exemplum, and the prologue to this tale contains some details. He is telling something about cunning people, and the story sets in Flanders, and it opens in a tavern, and there we have three young drinking men, and they are gambling there. So what is happening? The story told by the pardoner, it opens in Flanders, a place known as Flanders. It is set in Flanders, and it is opening in a tavern, in a particular place, a restaurant, old restaurant kind of thing, a tavern where three young people are there, three young men are there, and they are drinking and they are gambling. So a partner comes in into that tavern and sees this three young men drinking and gambling there. A partner comes and he condemns them. So he condemns them, he scolds them, and he, by scolding them, he says that, you are going to hell, and all. He says some some things, and you all think, whatever you are doing, all these things are sin, and you will, he condemns them in many ways. And during that time, meanwhile, what happened? They heard a bell signaling the death of their friend by death. They heard a bell. They heard a bell, and this bell signifies death of their friend, and this friend was killed by death. Okay, so their friend, these three young men's friend was killed by death. So what did they vow? They decided to kill death. Okay, so death is the killer. Death is the murderer of their friend. So they decided to find out death and kill death. So this is ironic, right? They decided to kill death. Okay, and they start a journey seeking death. So from there, they started a journey in order to find out, in order to seek death, where death resides, and find out death, and also kill death and avenge the murder of their friend by death. And somebody, as they were wandering around in search of death, somebody told them that they can find death under an oak tree. So somebody told them that, if you go to that particular oak tree, you can find death under that oak tree. So when they reached that oak tree, they saw a large amount of gold coins and forgot about their aim and killing death and all. So they forgot about death. They forgot about the quest that they were making to find out death and kill death. So they reached there, and they know they when they reach the oak tree, they simply just find a large amount of gold coin under that oak tree. So by seeing that oak tree and the gold coins under it, they actually forgot all their quest, their purpose of the journey, about death, their revenge, everything they forgot. They only thought of how they could have all these gold coins themselves. They are three in number, so none of them wanted to share these gold coins with any one of them. So every one of them, they wanted the whole gold coins with themselves. So that was their only thought. So what happens eventually? All these three people, they kill each other. They plot to kill each other and have the gold coins. And eventually, these three people, they killed each other and they died ultimately. So the story goes like this. To have to be with that gold coin, while the other one goes and fetch water and food for them. Okay, so the two will remain with this gold coins under the oak tree. The other one will go. Okay, so one while they were while the two were under the oak tree along with the gold coins, they decided to kill the other person who went to have food for them. Okay, so the other person who went to have or fetch water and food, he also plot he also plots to kill these two people. How he could kill these two people? So what happens when these two person were waiting, and when they saw that the other person is coming back with food and water, what they did, they killed the other one, killed the one who was approaching them. And they after that they two killed each other. Only one remains then. Only one remains now. And what happens, this person, he tried to eat and drink the water that the first murdered person fetched for them. So it was mixed with the poison. So the third person also dies after consuming the water and food brought by the first murdered person. So in that way, eventually these three people, they died ultimately, and they got killed because of their greed, because of their selfishness that they showed to each other. So this was the story by the partner. Please remember the story which tells about three men in search of death to kill death, and finally when they saw gold coins, they forgot about their quest to find out death and their aim, their revenge and all, and ultimately eventually they got killed each other, and nobody could get these gold coins. Okay, so that's the story of the partner's tale. Next one we have here is the prioress's tale. The prioress's tale. So prioress's tale, it's a miracle of the virgin. So it's a story that it's a miraculous story of the virgin. It is set in Asia. Okay, so the Prioress's tale set in Asia, and it begins with an invocation to the Virgin Mary. So she said nuns. Obviously, the story begins with an invocation to the Virgin Mary, and there is a boy. So in the story, there is a boy, and the boy was taught a hymn of Virgin Mary. So the boy is a Christian boy, and who lives in a Jew majority area. Jew majority area. A boy is there, a Christian family is there, and the boy, he was taught a hymn of Virgin Mary, and he began to sing it every day. So after learning this hymn, the boy started to sing it every day as he walks to school through a Jew's street. So as he walks to school through a Jew's street, he used to sing this hymn to Virgin Mary, and the Jews kill him. So after hearing this, their tolerance, they could not tolerate it. So the Jews could not tolerate the that the boy is singing a hymn of Virgin Mary. So the Jews killed him, and they threw the body on a dung heap. So what happens after killing this boy? His dead body was thrown to a dung heap. Okay, so his mother and his parents, everybody was searching after his for his dead body. So his mother, after much of efforts, could not find his body. But after certain periods, miraculously, this dead body, it starts to sing a hymn. So what happens? So they killed the boy and they threw the body on a dung heap. And his mother, after much efforts, finds his body. So it was very difficult to find his body, dead body. So miraculously, after that, when the mother finds the boy's body, miraculously, it started to sing the hymn which was taught to him. Okay, the Virgin Mary's hymn, the dead body started to sing miraculously. And the Jews got suitable punishment, and the boy continues the singing when the mass was going on. So the boys murderers, the Jews were caught and they were brought to justice, and they got suitable punishments. But still the boy didn't stop singing this hymn. It continuously singing, and without stopping it was still singing. So they don't know what is happening with this boy, and even though his throat is cut, even then it was singing and singing, continuously singing. So everybody asked him how could he be able to sing. So he must be die by now, right? After cutting the throat, nobody can live, nobody can say anything, nobody could live for a moment more. So everybody asked him, how could he able to sing the hymn. So he said that even though his throat is cut, Virgin Mary has put a grain on his tongue. Because of that, he is able to sing. So he now tells that, even though his throat is cut by that Jews, Virgin Mary has put a grain on his tongue. So because of that, he is able to sing. So that is the reason why he could able to sing even though his throat is cut. And people removed the grain, and immediately he dies. So he dies after removing the grain which was put by Virgin Mary. So this is the Virgin Mary's miraculous story. So this is the story of the prioress. So remember that it's the story of the Virgin Mary, and it is set in Asia. Okay, remember that too. Let's go to the next one. So the next one is the monk's tale. The monk's tale. Monk actually tells many tragedies, a bunch of tragedies. I'm not going to tell all of them, but I'll tell definitely about whom he is telling all these tragedies. So he tells bunch of tragedies. So he takes these tragedies from history as well as mythical stories. So historical as well as mythical figures recounted or encountered in it. So, stories related to historical as well as mystical figures told by the monk. So, before beginning his stories, the monk tells about the fickleness of fortune through a series of stories. So, how fickle fortune can be, how fickle our luck can be. So, the monk tells before beginning his stories, a bunch of series of stories, tragedies that he is about to tell. The monk tells how fickle, how fragile, how short a fortune, a luck can be. Through his series of stories, actually, he is trying to tell that. So, first of all, he begins with telling the story of Lucifer. So, how glorious he was. Then he became the fallen angel. Then he tells the story of Adam of Bible. So Adam. So first he tells the story of Lucifer as how Lucifer fell from the heaven and became a fallen angel. And then he tells about that. I mean, the monk tells about the fall of Adam. And he tells about Samson, biblical Samson, how he fell from grace. So he tells about Samson, how he fell from grace. Then turns to the tragic story of Hercules. Then Hercules is a mythical figure, and Samson and Lucifer, Adam, these four are mythical figures. And then after Samson's story, Monk tells the story, tragic story of Hercules, and it tells the unfortunate story of beautiful and brave Zenobia, queen of Palmyra. So again, after Hercules, he tells the unfortunate story of beautiful and brave Zenobia, and who is queen of Palmyra, and the monk then warns everybody to beware of treachery and narrates the story of King Pedro of Spain. Then he tells Peter of Cyprus and Bernardo Visconti. So he one after another he tells tragic stories from history as well as epical or mythical figures. So after Zenobia, he tells the story of King Pedro of Spain, then Peter, King of Cyprus, and Bernardo Visconti. So these people's story also he tells. Towards the end of his narration, he tells the story of the vicious Nero the king, then Antiochus Epiphanes, and who was punished by God for attacking the Jews, for his attacks on Jews. So, these are some of the mythical as well as historical figures about whom the monk tells stories, tragic stories about their tragic incidents happened in their life. So, after hearing all these tragedies one by one, everybody actually quite bored of them, and the night interrupts the monk, and he asks to stop the stories because these tragedies are too many. He actually tells around 36 stories of tragedies alone about various historical as well as mythical figures. So the knight actually stops him, and he wanted to hear something very cheerful. So everybody actually wanted to hear something cheerful after these series of tragedies that they heard from the monk. So that is about the monk's tale. The next one here is the nun's priest's tale. The nun's priest tale. So with the nun, with the prioress, there were three priests, right? So one of the priests, he is telling that tale, the nun's priest tale. It's a mock heroic beast fable. So beast, an animal is the main, or animals are the major characters here, and they were acting like human beings. They are talking, and they're having a life activity just like human beings. Okay, so it's a mock heroic beast fable and has 626 lines. So the nun's priest tale contains 626 lines. The hero of the story told by the nun's priest is Chanclier, which is the story is going to be a mock heroic beast fable. So it is written in the heroic manner, in the heroic manner, and it is a beast fable in which animals will be playing the major characters, and they will be imitating human beings' life, and they'll be having a life and activities just like human beings. They'll be talking like human beings and doing everything like human beings. The hero of the story is a cock rooster, and whose name is Chanticleer, and he dreams of his doom in the form of a fox, and frightened and awakens his chief wife Berthelot. So what happens in the sleep? While he is sleeping, he dreams of his doom in the form of a fox. So a fox comes. So in his dream, he sees a fox, and he is frightened by it, and he awakes after this seeing this dream, this nightmare, and he along with that he awakens his chief wife known as Bertolotte. So she consoles him, and she tells various stories of prophets and various glorious stories and all. And she consoles and she gives courage to him that it is just a dream, that it is not going to happen. So don't be frightened about seeing a fox in your dream. So he tells many stories of prophets and all. So in that way, she consoles him, and the dawn came, and he forgot about it. So when the sun raised, the cock rooster and his wife, both of them, they forgot about it, and a fox spotted him. So what happens? So while he was roosting, while Chanticleer was roosting, a fox spotted him, and he came to him, and he made extravagant comments of flattery about his roosting style, and about how graceful when he was roosting, and also the fox came to him. So even though he saw the fox in the form, he saw his doom in the form of a fox in the dream. He didn't memorized it, and when the fox came to him, and he extravagantly, or he exaggerated about the roosting style of Chanticleer, and he flattered him. The fox flattered him by his sweet words, and he fell for his sweet words. Okay, so Chanticleer mainly he fell for his uh, his sweet words which was told by the fox, and the fox made tremendous comments about the skills and all that the rooster the cock rooster or Chanticleer possessed. So, and what happens? Chanticleer was asked by this fox to display his fine roosting. Okay, so Chanticleer was asked by the fox after saying all these comments, extravagant, exaggerated, flattery comments about his roosting skills and all. The fox asked him to just display your roosting skills by roosting once in that full-fledged style of you. So Chanticleer, flattered by it, and he closed his eyes and stretched his throats to roost. Okay, to making some styles in style. So he closed his eyes and he stretched his throat to roost. Then suddenly the fox grabbed him. So suddenly the fox grabbed him, and the fox started to run. In a hell of a speed. Okay, so that was the fox aim, right? So fox want Chanticleer, and conveniently he was standing stretching his throat and closing his eyes before a fox. So immediately, using that moment, the fox suddenly grabbed him and started running. And Chanticleer got the fox into hurling curses at the crowd chasing him. So Chanticleer, by then Chanticleer understood that he did something tremendously wrong, and this can result in his doom. He's going to die if he is not escaping. So Chanticleer, he was actually, when the fox was running, every other his wives, every other even the bees, every other animal started to follow fox in order to make the fox to release Chanticleer. And Chanticleer knows that if he does some trick, then only he could get away from the clutches of the fox. So what happens? Chanticleer got the fox into hurling curses. So he asks the fox to shower some curse at the crowd chasing him. So the a crowd of animals, beasts, they are chasing the fox because he grabbed Chanticleer. So what happens? Chanticleer tells this fox that in order to get rid of this crowd, you have to shower some cursing words at them. Then they will stop chasing you. So believing this, fox also opens his mouth and he escapes from the fox. So what happens? In order to curse the crowding, in order the chasing crowd, in order to curse the chasing crowd, fox opens his mouth and he escaped from the fox. And Chanticleer escapes from the fox. So it also has two morals, that you should not believe in psychophancy, you could not believe, or you should not listen to extravagant comments or exaggerated comments, and you should, even though you are talented, you should not be too proud about it, and you should not display, or you should not never believe your enemies. And Chanticleer, here when the fox lost Chanticleer from his mouth, he also believed that one, he also came to know that you should not open your mouth when you are not supposed to open it. So fox also got that moral, or he also came to understand this moral. You should not open your mouth while you are not supposed to open. So these two moral values are there in the story, which is, the story was told by the nun's priest. So remember that nun's priest tells a mock heroic beast fable. I have seen couple of questions from this particular tale about the style, about the genre of this particular tale, which is mock heroic beast fable, and the hero's name Chanticleer, and Penelope, his major wife. So in that, or chief wife. So in that way, I have seen some questions in the previous question paper about the nun priest tale from Canterbury Tale. So do remember that too. Now let me share some details related to other tales that we could see in the Canterbury Tales. So the Cook's Tale. Cook's Tale is the fourth tale and it is an unfinished tale. Remember this, inside the unfinished work of the Canterbury Tales, we have an unfinished tale, okay? The Cook's Tale is a fourth tale. It's the fourth tale and it is an unfinished tale. And the next one is the Man of Law's Tale. Man of Law's Tale is the fifth tale and it's a romantic pathetic tale. So it comes under the genre romantic pathetic tale. Then the Friar's Tale, it's about a corrupt summoner, and Summoner's Tale, a corrupt friar. So see how they are avenging each other. The friar tells the story about a corrupt summoner. By hearing that, the summoner tells the story about a corrupt friar. So how mean they are. Then the Squire's Tale. It's about a mythical figure, about a historical, not a mythical figure, historical figure, Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan is an Asian king, and the squire tells a story about Genghis Khan. And the Physician's Tale, it's a domestic drama. So the Physician's Tale is about a domestic drama. It's about the relationship between a father and a daughter. Okay, so it's mainly tells about a relationship between a father and a daughter. Then a shipman's tale. So shipman naturally will tell a sailor's tale. So it's a sailor's tale. Then Sir Topaz tale. So Sir Topaz tale and tale of Melibee, both are told by Chaucer. So Chaucer himself is also a pilgrim, one of the pilgrims in the tale. So Chaucer also has to tell two tales as he is traveling to the shrine, and two tales from his from the shrine as well, the journey from the shrine. So Chaucer also telling two stories here, the Topaz Tale and the Tale of Melody. Both these tales are told by Chaucer. Then the canon yeoman's tale. So the canon's yeoman is a character that is not mentioned in the prologue. So remember that the canon's yeoman's tale. So canon's yeoman is a character that is not mentioned. That character is not mentioned in the prologue. Then the Manciple's Tale. The Manciple's Tale is a penultimate story, means the second last story in the Canterbury Tales. The Manciple Tale is the penultimate story. Penultimate story means second last story of the Canterbury Tales. Next one is the Parson's Story. The Parson's Story is it is written in a prose form. So this is the only story that is written in prose form in the Canterbury Tales. So remember these little details related to some of the tales that we could find in Canterbury Tales. Remember the genre in which they fall and some little details. So about the 10 major tales that we have discussed, remember the major storyline, the characters, as well as the genre in which they fall, the setting of the story as well. Some questions can be obviously asked from the Canterbury tales. So I think that's enough for the tales related to or tales of the Canterbury tales, the stories of the Canterbury tales. Okay, and obviously you can join a WhatsApp group if you want. If you want, where I am sharing daily quizzes related to English language and literature, some notes and capsules in the form, some notes in the form of capsules there, and also some details related to updates and news related to UGC Net English. So you can WhatsApp me or call me in this number to join the WhatsApp group, and also you can mail me here in this email address to have more details and queries related to UGC Net English language and literature. So that's all about it, and thank you for watching my video. If you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel, and if you like my video, please press the like button and also share this video with your friends, and make your relevant comments under the comment section. So also visit my website www.highpoint.in for more information. You can also message the number given in the screen. So that's all about it. Thank you for watching, and let me meet you in the next video. Bye bye.